And here's what you're going to see when you open brackets. It may have a little alert. It opens up and it shows you its working index file. So this is a good place to kind of familiarize yourself with an HTML file. Up at the top of the file there's the doc type HTML declaration. That's something that you always want to have in your HTML file. But you'll notice that brackets is set up with an HTML file welcoming us to brackets. And if you scroll down, you'll see it all the way to the end of the document. And up here you'll notice the tag HTML. That's the opening HTML tag for all HTML documents. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the closing /HTML tag. You'll see the closing body tag, which if we go back to the top, we see the body tag. Above the body tag, there is a head tag. All HTML documents also have a head tag, and in the head tag, one of the things that you're always going to find is the title. And the title is not the title of the web page itself, but it is the title that's in the tab of the browser. And I'll show you that in just a second. But that is in the head tag. Another thing that's always in the head tag is if there's a link to a style sheet, so a CSS file. And in this case, you can see it. It says link rel equals style sheet, and then href equals main.css. Okay, so the link is a relative link. It's a link to a style sheet, and the href is telling it where it is located. Hypertext reference language, or hypertext reference is what href stands for. Okay, so in brackets, if you look at the interface over here, there's all your working files that you're working with. There's your menu up at the top, and over here there's a little lightning bolt icon, and if I click that, that'll give us a live preview of what this looks like in an actual browser. So I'm going to click preview, and it welcomes us. That alert will go away after the first time you use it, but it will open up a Chrome window for you. And this shows you what the HTML document is going to render like in a browser. And that's something that you're going to use a lot as you're working in brackets. So let me just close that again. Now, brackets has something called code hinting turned on in it. And you can program or code in a lot of different languages in brackets. And if I go down here to this bottom row of brackets, I will see under right now where it says HTML, a list of different languages that you can code in. And the best practice for making sure you're programming in the right language is to make a new document. We're going to make a new document. Now it's blank, and now you'll see down here that it just says text. The way that you can get it to specify the language that you're coding in is the very first thing before you even start typing, because if you just start typing, it's going to just type in gray typing. But if you save it, it does this really cool thing. So we're going to go save. And instead of just giving it a name untitled1, I really want to give it the name and the file extension of the language that I'm using. So I'm going to call this my file. I'm going to camel case it, which is lowercase than uppercase, myfile.html. And if I tell it that it's an HTML file and I save it that way, it's going to try to save it in the Getting Started folder. I'm going to save it for now on my desktop, and I can change that if I want to save it in a new folder on my desktop. So I'm going to call it my coding folder. Okay, so now it's going to save it in there, and it's going to save it myfile.html, and that's important. .html. After I have saved it as .html, it has changed down here from just text to HTML. And the cool thing about that is if I start typing, it'll give me something called code hinting. So I can start to type my HTML tag and it will finish it for me. So it's really great. And the only thing that it doesn't type automatically for me, oops, that little twirl twirls it up and down and closes the bracket. But we'll leave it open for now. I'm going to just make a few spaces above here, and I'm going to put in the doc type. So the doc type declaration. And I am not sure that I did that correctly, so let me just look back at their index HTML and look how they have it. They have it with a capital doc type and a smaller lowercase HTML. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my file over here in the menu, and I'm going to just paste it exactly like I saw it there. And it didn't have an equal or anything in it. So this way I know that I've declared it properly. So that's how you declare your doc type. And then you've got HTML. And then I'm going to just make a head tag. Remember, head is where we can put the title of the document. So title. And inside of title, I'm going to open that up, and I'm just going to make a line of a space here. So now I'm going to type my first web page, and now I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go over here to the lightning bolt and preview it. And as you can see, there's nothing on the page yet, but up here it says my first web page because that's the title. And it exists only in the head of the document, not in the content of the document. The body is where all the content that you'd view on the page is going to live. So let's just close the browser and go back. And we can just start typing, and you can just start typing anything here, whatever you want to type. And look, you'll notice that I've got some spaces that I've created on the page, and if I preview, that's not going to show up that way, so I have to format that properly. Oh, one thing that I need to do is save the changes that I've made. Oh, I haven't declared a body tag. That's very important. Body. So once you declare a body tag, we want the content. I'm going to cut and paste that to go inside the body tag. If it isn't inside the body tag, it will not show up. So File, Save again, and then I can preview. Hit the lightning bolt, and there it is. And you'll notice that I've made spaces between hello world and then this just random typing that I did. But they're not showing up because in order to do that, I need to create maybe a paragraph tag. So a P tag for paragraph. And then it code hints. And so I'll cut and paste that into there. Paste into there, and then I can create another P tag to put this information in. So I'm going to cut and paste that into there, and then I have to save again. You can see there's a little dot there until I save, so I'm going to go up here and go File, Save. And now that little dot goes away beside the lightning bolt, and I can update it here. And I've got tabs open for previous versions, and I can close those, or I can hit refresh and see that it did update that way as well. So you can always do refresh after you've saved. Okay, so that's the basics of working within brackets. Now if I wanted to, I could make a style sheet and apply that, a cascading style sheet, to my HTML. So if I look at their index, I see they've linked to a style sheet called main, and here's the style sheet called main, and the style sheet called main has a different kind of coding. It has CSS coding on it rather than HTML coding. So any hinting that I needed would automatically show up in here. So in my example, I'm going to go back to my file, and I am going to go File, New. I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to save this as my style.css, and I'm going to put that with my other files so that it's in the same relative location, and that's always best practices, to have all the files in the same folder so that they're not looking all over for them. So this is called my style.css, and I navigated to my coding folder, and I'm going to put it in there. And now it's saved as a CSS. It doesn't have anything happening in it. But if I wanted the body text to be all a certain font, I'm going to call it body. And then for CSS declarations, you use the curly brackets, which are beside your P key. It's like a capital shift beside your P key. I'm going to open up those brackets, and I would like my body color to be font size, and in font size I can choose font pixels or points or M's, and I want to use M's if possible, so I'm going to choose 2M, and that's going to make everything 2 times as large as it normally would be. If I used pixels, it would always be that particular size. It wouldn't change depending on the display type. But if I choose M's, it's going to be relative to the default size on that particular device. So that's a little bit better way to use. And points is more for print anyway. So this will change the font size. So for right now, I see a regular font size, and I'm going to just go ahead and go File, Save. I want to link this style sheet to my file, and so in the head of the document below my title tags, I'm going to put a link rel equals style sheet, and see how code hinting is helping me out here. And then I'm going to do href equals, and the cool thing is once I hit equals here, because it's linking, it knows, and I've put that in the same folder as my file, so it's looking for everything that's in the folder there. So I'm going to choose my style. That's so good, I don't have to do it. And now I've linked that style sheet, and now I'm going to update that. I'm going to go File, Save All, and now that's saved it all. And look, automatically you can see in the browser behind that it had updated. Now if I want to do something else to my style sheet, I can go in here and do one more thing. So let's do color, and when I do the colon after color in CSS in brackets, it's going to give me a list of possible colors to choose from, so I don't have to write the hexadecimal code. So I'm going to choose dark red, and I'm going to put a semicolon to end that declaration, and then I'm going to close that declaration and save all. And you can see automatically that it has updated. So that's one of the beauties of CSS. You really can make all your changes, and they're dynamically going to happen to your file without you having to come in here and do anything to your file once it is properly linked. It's good because you can change things. You can insert different style sheets, different colors, just depending on what you need to do. So that's code hinting inside of brackets.